is from the same commercial. Again, I'm going through these because I want to show you how much backlighting we used on this commercial. I told you guys about that last week, how my producer was like, you need to stop doing that. But I didn't care because I just love how it looks. This is the same thing, like she's just sitting in front of a window. This is lit 90% with window light, and we have a little bit of fill coming in on this foreground side of her face so that we could see her. In fact, I should have included a wider shot of this scene, but basically, if you watch the video, it's her and her husband sitting at breakfast together in front of this window. And it's just a really, really beautiful scene. Guys, if you want to make things look pretty, just find giant windows. Every photographer, every filmmaker I know loves window light because it's just naturally soft. It's naturally beautiful. Obviously, if you have the sun blasting through it, it's not going to be as soft because you've got that harsh light. But as long as the sun's not in a location where it's coming straight through the window, the light's just bouncing around everywhere outside. So you've got light going through multiple bounces and then coming through your window, and it's just naturally really beautiful and really soft. So that's basically how we lit this. We just brought in a little bit of bounce so she wasn't silhouetted too much. And we did a lot of that in this shoot, just like using natural light, using big windows, and just creating this really beautiful soft light. A really good example of that is this one from the same commercial. So here we go. We just placed them in front of a window. We shot this at blue hour, which is super important. Blue hour, we're going to talk about that in a coming week when we talk about set design and production and location, time of day, and that kind of thing. But blue hour is basically the hour after sunset. You guys know what golden hour is, the hour before sunset. Blue hour is right after sunset. You get this really beautiful, rich blue look. Like, this doesn't happen in color grading. You can't do this in color grading. This is something you want to shoot at blue hour because it's just gorgeous. And you can get some really cool effects shooting like this. You get this really cool orange and blue because it's that time of day when it's not quite dark outside yet. It's still pretty light, but the sun's down. But the city lights and people's window lights and everything are starting to turn on. So you get this orange light, kind of sprinkles of orange light everywhere, which you can see a little bit of that in this shot. We probably were a little bit too early to get most of that for this one. But you get that plus the just general blue look of everything, and it's really pretty. A lot of this commercial, if you watch it, was shot at blue hour, and it's just a really pretty look. Corey, what camera did you use on the shoot? Just out of curiosity. We shot this on the Red Epic MX with Canon Cinema Primes. So anyway, that's this shot. We've got, it's just kind of really, like, I love this silhouetted look, this really beautiful backlight. And I'm just obsessed with it. And you'll see in my work that I do this a lot. Some things that I want to point out here. You'll notice that we do have a little bit of light on these curtains over here, and that was done intentionally off to this side of the camera. In fact, I'm like 10 feet back from them, and then off, 5 feet to the side of me, we had an Arri 1K or 650 going through some diffusion, just like bouncing off the ceiling, just to give a little bit of a bounce, some fill. Like, there's really not enough light coming through the window to really bounce light into the scene. And because it's such a wide shot, it would be difficult to get the bounce card in the shot without, being able to see it. So we just use a 1K, and you can tell by the shadow that it's just kind of pointing over here, filling in some of this so we get some light on these curtains and it's not just totally black. One of my favorite things about this look, besides the silhouetting, even though we try to fill it in a little bit, is just, I don't know if you guys can see this because it's so subtle, but there's just this tiny little bit of wraparound that you'll find comes around your talent there. You can kind of see it up on his face right here, even on his shoulder there, and his shoes, this kind of thing. Like, you just get this little bit of light that starts to wrap around. It's because we're using this giant light source. So it's just an amazingly soft light, and especially because the sun's down, like, there's just soft light coming through there, albeit not very much light, but it is really soft. You just get this really pretty wrap around that starts to just, it defines just like a little bit of the subject. It just makes it really pretty rather than having like a straight silhouette, because like straight silhouette is just kind of old and overdone. you know, everybody's seen that before. But if you give them just like a little bit of character, a little bit of light, even this light on this girl's hair right here is just really beautiful. So you kind of go for that with this look. Also, let me just point this out. Notice the composition here. Like I wanted to go for that symmetrical look, but also kind of put them off to the side just slightly, just barely off center, which I also love doing. You see that a lot in my work. And it made more sense just have them both in the same window pane rather than like splitting them down the middle. So this was like a really cool scene that we shot in this one.